And welcome back to Straight Talk. So dividends, do you actually think that you're going to get a dividend? Are you going to wait for that check?
I don't. Here, look at Mike. 94 was enough for you. I wasn't here then. I was at the one in 2000, whatever it was, 2001, 2002, something like that. And I was a supporter then. Okay? But again, I think they botched it. They just couldn't be honest, and say, no, of course we're involved. Okay? We're involved. Right. And they try to play these games with and I think people are that stupid. Okay, you know what? Maybe they can't read, maybe they can't understand, but they sure get that. They seem to get an idea. Wait a minute, you guys are bamboozling us.
I'm just afraid
why can't you be honest about this stuff? And to me, I wasn't even about dividends then. To me, it was like if you could have something that would generate revenue for nation building. But that whole illusion of what those guys are doing with relation to that, I don't even want them having money to do that, because it's just something else.
And that comes down, like, it's always going to be mistrust anyway, regardless. Mohawk Council is going to creatively put something out again. Now they're not calling it a casino because it's going to be closed down right away. The idea of doing it. You know what? I can't, if it's no, it's no, and just leave it alone. Why are you putting more effort and money and everything else? You're saying you don't have any money, but now your people are getting paid to do more work on this. So if you have no money, then why are you doing that? That comes to the other point of the front page of the Eastern Door last week, I think it was, when Carl Hornigan said that they should trim some fat there before they look at cuts. It seems like the timing, 1 week it's we have no money, we're broke. The next week we're going to do online gaming. I mean, not online gaming, land-based gaming.
Yeah.
So now we're telling you that we're broke, or we're given the illusion that we're broke, in order for us to say that this is a good thing for you because we have no money.
Yeah, no, that's the general thrust of things right now. But if you look, there's an internal review going on at the council too, and one of the things they're talking about is duplication of services, this redundancy and so on, and so it fits into this cutting the fat thing quite nicely, I think, because now and somebody suggested to me, what I think that's about is that they've never been able to sort of like let people go before, but be able to do it this way because it's about redundancy, it's about efficiency. You could say, well, we don't need 12 chiefs, we only need 9. But some people say there's only really 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, who are really running it anyways, 4 people, 3 of whom might be chiefs. So the question is now coming about finances. They haven't had any increases. So the federal government, we're being strangled. Kahnawake needs to have all this stuff, and the only way we could do that is to either we're going to do this by taxation, or we need to look at these other things for revenue generation.
But I have a problem when Mohawk Council is trying to scare the community in regards to funding. Saying we have no money, we're not shortfall, but we're not going to have enough. And then all of a sudden it becomes an issue of, well, the only way to make money, we have to do gaming. It's one hand and the other, but,
Well, I don't know. It's like I said, I hear what you're saying as well, but I also I do see the cutbacks. And I do, having worked in the public sector, I do see the government and the outside government, definitely the Canadian government and the Quebec government, are constantly trying to pull back from the responsibility to First Nations. But so they have that pressure. So that is always there. It's a reality. And and at the same time, I don't necessarily disagree with the land-based casino. Let's call it what it is. I don't necessarily disagree with that either. If it's done properly, if it can be, I don't know. It's like I see a great opportunity. I do see an opportunity financially, at the very least, to entertain the idea. I'm not saying that I'm against it 100%. I'm maybe not against it. I'm not for it 100% either. And I think that that's where a lot of community members are coming from at this point.
But yes, again, I mean, I'm listening to you, Chrissy, and part of me says, okay, yeah, I know, I understand. But I keep coming back to the question is, yeah, but who
Right.
is doing this?
That's
and,
what.
And who is actually being accountable? And I mean, you could ask that in any sector.
Right.
Okay, and what's the track record lead one to think in terms of the whole speculation? That's where I think people in the community are very. They look at it and it's very circumspect. You know, it's like, well, again.
That's what I said earlier about being distrustful of the systems that are in place right now and looking back on the past. And I think that's probably why they lost the referendum, is because they didn't explain things enough and they didn't do it in an open manner.
And the thing is even though that they're going to do all this, I still have reserves that they're going to actually give you all the information, because every time anything comes up, we never get all the information. This is what it is, but we're what's behind it.
Right.
You never find out what's behind it until it's so big and it blew up in your face that now that you're hearing that, well, there was all these other mitigating factors that that weren't taken into consideration.
Well, but again, I mean, but that's seems to be the personality of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm talking about whether it be the MCK or it be almost any kind of body in town. You know, it's like, well, the Mohawk Council, anything related to that. It seems to be, like, you don't put things out, but you gotta be careful, don't let it out. And the thing is always, it's always said, well, we have to be careful, the outside is always watching us, and, but hey, they know how to find out anything they damn well please.
Anything that's going on in this community, if they think that the outside don't know what's going on,
it comes down to the management of information. Here, look, I want to do this. Okay, so I want to strategize about how I get this done. And one of the things I need to do is I need to control the flow of information, and I need to steer people, and I need to feed them the right kind of information to get the desired result I want. Now, they have failed in two cases with the casino, and how that was bungled. Okay, but it still goes on. It goes on in terms of legislation locally. Goes on with any kind of government negotiations. Let's get some transparency on the scenery, the land, and so on. Where's the 700 acres? And meanwhile, the feds are selling out land, everything. But when you do things about the accountability in the organization, it's for their eyes only. It isn't for the community. Okay. Excuse me. So there's not a lot of trust. I mean,
that breeds distrust.
It breeds distrust, yes.
It breeds distrust.
That's the point.
And what I'm saying is, I don't necessarily, for me, I might not necessarily agree with a casino, but I also don't disagree with it either. So I think it needs to be further discussed and fleshed out. And from what I understand, apparently this is what they're doing right now. That's what they're saying. Mind you, there's always that voice in the back of my head saying, don't you think that they've already looked at this? You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily trust them, but I think it's a good idea, and I think it's I would like to see us, I don't know. It's my personal,
There's a lot more to it than just whether or not you're going to open that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that there's revenue sharing somewhere down the road. But we need to take another break.
Again?
Again. So we'll be back right after these messages.